Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? So, I hope you're all doing well. I thought I'd take a look today at Bethesda's most recent Inside the Vault blog post. It's not something I normally dive into, but there's a few things in this one that are particularly relevant to what's going on in Fallout 76 at the moment. There's a couple of interesting points, so I thought we'd take a little bit of a look at it and sort of see what Bethesda are tackling and what they're going to be tackling in the next few weeks, hopefully by the end of the month. This one's particularly interesting as it's got some of the major issues that are rearing their heads at the moment being talked about in quite a bit more detail. So let's have a look, shall we? Start off with a nice pretty picture up there. So January 17th. So far this week we've closed out over 150 bugs. Okay, we've already covered that one. That's the last patch and more fixes on the way. Thank you so much for your vigilant reporting of issues, providing feedback and giving us your suggestions. We want to have conversations with you, whether that's about patches, new content, or things you want to know about. We're working on sharing as many details as possible, and we're excited to share new details, clues on updates, additions in the game over the coming weeks. So, basically they're saying keep giving them feedback. They're not as good as they're implying here at replying to that, but if they're reading it, that's the main thing, I suppose. But yeah, that's the only way they're going to improve, at least in the way we want them to improve, otherwise they're going to have to take a guess, so... yeah, keep giving them the feedback, keep submitting tickets, that sort of thing, and hopefully they'll keep on improving. Okay, so, message on exploits. This is one of the big things going on at the minute. You've probably seen a lot of it on social media and on various articles about the game at the moment. This is one of the big issues the game's having right now. That's, we want Fallout 76 to be a happy and healthy world for all players. We know that there are concerns with players finding and abusing exploits. We're working hard to find, fix and address these as they show up. A number of players raising these to our attention has been incredibly helpful in our process of getting to the bottom of these exploits, and we greatly appreciate it. We want you to know that we take these exploits and the abusing of them very seriously. Good. Once identified, we work closely with our support team to remove problem players that are abusing these exploits, whether it's the duping exploits or using cheat apps or mods to access areas in-game that are otherwise inaccessible and unintended for players in the game world. As we continue to change the game, we fully expect to identify new issues, but we will continue to track and resolve exploits. If you think you're experiencing an exploit, stop using it immediately and report it to the support team through a ticket. There's a link on here. If you feel you've experienced an issue regarding another player, including observing them using an exploit, we encourage you to let our support team know, submitting a ticket. So, this kind of covers a couple of little things. Obviously, in the last patch, Bethesda attempted to remove the duplication glitches, which they've also tried to do before with limited success, so I'm not too sure how successful it's actually been. Obviously, I'm not going to try it and find out. It seems like a fast way of getting myself into trouble. But that's something they're working on. The biggest problem that's been cropping up lately involving that is players who've been particularly duplicating the living daylights out of bobbleheads and magazines, and then seriously overpowering themselves so to the point that they can get around the in-game features that are designed to prevent griefing and going out and using the PvP to just attack any player they want. It's not been massively common, it's not something I've seen, or I've not heard directly from anybody about it, but it is going on, so something Bethesda want to knock on the head fairly effectively. So if that's something any of you guys run into, by all means please do let them know, and hopefully they'll get that sort of thing dealt with. The other thing you may have read about is that a number of players have found their way into the developer room. So it's basically a space in-game with every single item in the game that the devs can go into and test things out, make sure they're working properly, that sort of thing. For obvious reasons, involving unbalancing and basically cheating the game, that sort of thing, players are not supposed to be getting in there. And it sounds like Bethesda have built in a method to detect people who have been in there and basically suspend and ban them for so doing, so don't try it. You'll end up losing your account and all hell breaks. Not worth it. And judging by the way they've been handling it, they've been royally embarrassing people before they then ban them, so not fun. But it's good that they're dealing with that. So, latest on patch 5, that's the next big patch that's coming hopefully at the end of the month. Look forward to seeing what's in there. Early feedback from all of you on the latest patches has been very positive. It continues to help us squash bugs with super sledge-like authority in future updates. Keep awesome feedback coming, it's making a big difference. Good. We're still targeting the end of the month for patch 5, good. And it will have another big wave of fixes. Patch notes Patch 5 notes won't be finalised until later in the month, makes sense, closer to the release of the patch. But we want to give more information on a couple of planned changes. So it sounds like they're going to be releasing as much as they can as early as they can, which is good. Everybody wants to know what they're doing. Detailed version, closer to the actual release of the patch. So, a couple of big things they're talking about. Changes to the two-shot and explosive legendary mods. Not picked up either of these yet myself, definitely would like to. Both these mods are undergoing a few balance changes in the next patch. We know that there has been some frustration over how powerful these are, particularly when combined and used in PvP. So apparently if you've got both of them on one gun and then use it in PvP, you've got a ridiculous advantage. It does sound like it's seriously overpowered. So with the next patch, the damage bonus for two-shot legendary modded weapons has been reduced from 100% to 25%. You can ignore the crossed out bit. And the explosive legendary mod has been reduced down to 20% as well. So instead of adding an extra 100% damage, they now add only another 20%, which is a massive nerf. Whether or not this is a good thing and how that works with playing PvE and playing the game as it's intended, I don't know, but we'll have to see whether or not it works the way they're thinking of. There was a misunderstanding what was being addressed with these mods. They will be available in the world. It's the crossing out bit. But they're just undergoing some balance changes. Thank you for your feedback. Look forward to hearing your thoughts on the changes. Like I say, that seems like overkill to me, but I can see why they're doing it as well. We'll have to see how that actually pans out, as I've not actually tried either mod out. On the other hand, I'm not feeling too underpowered even playing solo, so maybe that's not too bad. Mod scrapping no more. So we're aware of the aggravation involving mods being accidentally scrapped. Patch 5 will be implementing a fix so that loose weapon and armor mods must be scrapped manually and to be used in crafting and repair. So at the moment, if you scrap a modded item, you lose the mod as well. And you have to basically rebuild the mod as well. So if you put a suppressor on your gun and you scrap it, you lose the suppressor too. I'm guessing that that's what this is referring to, and it'll just dump it into your inventory or your stash, one or the other, probably inventory. And then if you want to scrap it, you'll have to do so manually. Sort of more like it was in Fallout 4 than in it has been so far in Fallout 76. Not sure why they put it in that way around in the first place, possibly to make it harder to get more powerful gear and you have to work more for it, but obviously this is frustrating people, so they're changing that. Personally, I don't have much of an opinion on that. I'm not bothered either way. Don't really struggle to get the resources. The only thing I can think of is that if you've got a mod on a gun you've found or bought but can't yet craft, then being able to transfer it to another gun would be nice, but you know, I'm not that bothered by it. So, moving on. Want to help us shape in-game events. Okay, as we've stated time and again, feedback crucial to making appropriate changes and improving overall player experience. Okay, want to hear your thoughts specifically on in-game events, specifically aspects that you really enjoy and want to see us double down on, and areas we can improve. Basically, they want to know which events do you feel are most rewarding, which ones do you not care about or do you dislike, and why? And which events do you prefer to play as a solo player? Which ones do you prefer to do in a team, and why? Although I'd imagine that bit's a little more obvious. What type of events would you like to see in the future? How do you join events? Do you fast travel to them, or do you go to a location expecting to start an event? I suspect there's a bit of both in there. And how do you feel about bonuses for completing daily or weekly events? Interesting. So, obviously we want to build new ones in and improve the event system. I think it could definitely do with some work, at least of all some more events being put into the game, because some of them are a bit bland, to be honest. I'd definitely like to see some new stuff, but then again we would expect that to be coming anyway now the game's been out for a bit. So, because players come into events at various stages in time, another thing we're talking about is how to provide you with a greater sense of an event's current status. We know it can be disheartening to spend your hard-earned caps travelling to a location, only to discover on arrival that the event has already concluded. Basically, it finishes while you're in the loading screen. We're still working through this to come up with a resolution. Providing your feedback to our questions and any further information you'd like to share on events will help us come to a better solution to any frustrations you may be having. As we're getting more and more of the launch bugs addressed, we expect our Inside the Vault features to focus on more quality of life improvements and new free content arriving in the game. So, they obviously feel they're making good progress on bugs. To be honest, on the whole, I'm running into less bugs, I think. But I'd like to see the server stability continuing to be a focus. The most recent patch has not been as effective as I'd like on that front. I know I've had more crashes since it than I did before, so I don't know. Maybe I'm just unlucky, but even so, you know? They are obviously going to keep on that, and they're going to work on quality of life changes. So that's little things we'd like to see to make the experience a little bit more fun and make it go a bit smoother. And they're talking about the new content arriving in the game as well. Obviously that's not too far off. So with Fallout 4, it was roughly March that the first DLC arrived. I've got a hunch that they're going to aim to start introducing content a little bit quicker than that. But we'll have to see. It's just a feeling from the way they've expressed things, so it'd be cool to see. I'm looking forward to see what they've got in store for us. That should be fun. A little on down the line. We've received questions about our new mode and want to clarify that this mode will be playable separately. It will be a new option accessed from the main menu. This mode will be designed for fans that want a more hardcore PvP experience. The rules of PvP as they... I can't even say that today. The rules of PvP, as they currently are in the game, are not changing outside of the new mode. So, short version, they've said that they want to set up a new mode in game where the normal instigating PvP mechanic is not in place. So you'll, instead of doing like 1 damage till the player responds, you just go straight in at full damage. Rather than put that into the full game, which would definitely alienate people who don't want that, they want to set up a separate mode where you can go from your launch screen, instead of hitting the normal play button, you hit the basically PvP servers, and you'll go straight into a game where everybody's gone in deliberately with the same intention of you, of having a more PvP focused experience. Not something that massively appeals to me, but nonetheless it's coming. It gives an option there for people who do want to play more PvP. And at the same time, it's a nice balance in that it means people who don't want to aren't going to be stuck with the new changes, which is cool. The idea behind it, apparently, is to add significantly more tension, drama, and consequences to every player encounter. Admittedly, the drama element that they wanted to include with the current PvP system hasn't really worked. Normally I run into people who either offer to trade or just give me a wave and jog on their merry way, much as I do as well. Which is fine. But yeah, it means you get less interruptions in your gameplay, which is why I like it the way it is. But I can see why PvP fans will want to go the other way. So that's cool. So, more to share on new content and features soon. While it's a little early to give specifics, we can tell you that our first major content update will roll out over several weeks, so bit by bit, okay. Consistently adding new activities to the world to keep the world feeling fresh and ever-changing. Okay, so it sounds like it'll be an event that happens in stages, the next big content drop. And they're going to roll it out over a few weeks. That's cool. I mean, it's obviously partly designed to keep people playing, but that's fine with me. I don't see I have a problem with that. And so long as it does work and it feels good, let's go for it. I'm looking forward to having new stuff. He says, saying the fact that I've barely even touched about half the map, so guess we'll have to get stuck into that. There we go. So that's the big issues going on at the moment and the stuff that Bethesda's working on addressing. Getting some good progress made with bugs. There's still some work to be done on it. Quality of life changes are about to become a bigger focus, which is cool. And they're trying to deal with exploits and basically cheating. Yeah, this is all good. Should make for a much more pleasant playing environment. And yeah, plans for the new PvP mode, which will be separate from the main gameplay mode. And yeah, accessible via a separate menu option from the main menu, which is cool. So yeah, I hope that's thrown a bit more light on what's going on and what's coming up in future updates rather. And yeah, it looks like the future's looking reasonably bright, so looking forward to seeing what they've got in store for us. So I do hope that was informative and useful for you. If you liked the video, do hit those buttons for me, so it was very much appreciated. Social media links should be popping up somewhere about now as well, and you'll find them down in the description. And do make sure you stop by and catch one of the live streams as well. If you're not sure when, just hit that notification bell and you'll know when I go live. For now, thank you very much for watching. I'll be speaking to you all very, very soon.